Hello everyone, welcome to my Game of the Year 2020 list. It's my first time ever doing something like this, but I thought it'd be a fun project that everyone could enjoy. 2020 has been a crazy year for the entire world with non-stop happenings. But I hope that my streams and videos are able to bring some joy into people's lives. I know the streams themselves brightened up my year, and every time I streamed I was having a blast! Well, except that Skygunner stream. Now, these are my picks based on the games I played this year, so if you don't see a game that you think should be on here, I might not have played it. Or, you know, it just sucks! Now, before we get started, I want to make a quick note about early access games. Games in early access cannot qualify for these. Only once have they been released can they qualify. Just wanted to give a quick thanks to everyone who's watched my YouTube videos or tuned into the Twitch streams. You all inspire me to keep making more stuff. Thanks again, and let's get into the list. Best Multiplayer Game. Honorable mentions: Trackmania, Fall Guys, Golf with Your Friends, and Deep Rock Galactic. But our winner, Risk of Rain 2. Now, I've put over 200 hours into this game, both solo and multiplayer. A great follow-up to the first Risk of Rain, another game I loved. This game has kept my attention for so long because there's just so much you can do in it, and it's all a blast to do. Between getting good at moving and grooving as loader to just parking your butt somewhere as Engie and watching your turrets decimate everything in sight. The difficulty options are all pretty decently done as well. The easier difficulties pretty much anyone can play casually and enjoy, and the hard difficulty is truly challenging at times. Although it can be a bit BS at times as well, but you know, that comes with the whole randomization aspect. I will say some of the multiplayer scaling can be a little bit wonky, like playing as a duo makes the game incredibly hard due to how it's balanced, but other than that, I love this title and I highly recommend it. Best Art Direction. Honorable mentions: No Straight Roads, Hades, Sludge Life, and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. But our winner, Hylix 2. Now, I've been a big fan of Mason Lindroth's works for a while, and I was incredibly excited for this title, so of course I played through it immediately when it launched, and man, it did not disappoint. Lindroth loves using a combination of claymation, CGI, and 2D imagery, and a game where you get to explore a world of his surreal creations is something I think everyone should give a try. The game shifts from so many styles, from the 3D isometric view overworld to the Earthbound-esque battle screens, all the way to the strange third-person flying segments, and they all look stunning. If you've never seen this game or the first Hylix, go give them a look. They'll leave you wanting more. Best Surprise Hit. Honorable mentions: Sludge Life and Fuser. Winner though, Phasmophobia. This game came out of nowhere and instantly took the internet by storm. And it's no wonder why. People love those trashy ghost hunting shows, and a game where you get to go into a house and antagonize a ghost like Zach Baggins until it murders you was something we all knew we wanted, but we're just too afraid to admit it. This game was made entirely out of Unity assets, and some people would view that as a bad thing, but honestly, I find it impressive. I've seen so many of these assets a billion times in other indie games, but I felt Phasmophobia really got the most out of them and used them in creative ways. It just shows people don't need $500 million budgets poured into a game's graphics to enjoy it, as long as you can get a good atmosphere and engaging gameplay. Best Game About Indoctrinating People into Eating Bugs. Winner, Bugsnax. Eat the bugs! Most Satisfying Gameplay. Honorable mentions: Hades, Risk of Rain 2, FF7 Remake, and Trackmania. But the winner, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. The first Ori game was a blast to just jump and dash around in. I even beat the game a couple times just because of how much I enjoyed moving through the world. That being said, the second game improves on it in every way. I just wish you got some of the powers a little earlier. There's something so satisfying about diving into the sand, bursting out and dashing through an enemy and double jumping to reach a previously unreachable area. The game's story definitely went a little too hard on the trying to make you feel bad aspect, compared to the first one at least, but the gameplay kept me wanting to just play this game through to the end and see where it was gonna go. Best Roguelike. Honorable mentions: Monster Train, Risk of Rain 2, and Spelunky 2. But the winner, Hades! This game is incredible. It nearly won Best Art Direction as well, because the art in the game is beautiful, while also being incredibly intuitive. You can always tell what's going on in this game, no matter how much crazy stuff is flying on the screen. But it's not just the art, the gameplay is fantastic as well. Zagreus is incredibly fun to control, smashing up enemies and dashing around between them while throwing out spells is a blast. Then there's the wide variety of ways you can play the game. So many interesting playstyles come out of the weapons, spells, and passives you can equip. There's tons of playtime to be gotten out of this gem. Best Soundtrack. Honorable mentions: Bugsnax, FF7 Remake, and Animal Crossing New Horizons. But the winner, No Straight Roads. Now, I don't know a lot when it comes to music. All I know is what I enjoyed hearing the most, and No Straight Roads music was pure bliss from start to end. I adored this soundtrack, and I've listened to the entire thing multiple times since I played through the game, and it never gets tiring. It's impressive how the game is fully translated in so many languages, and the songs work so well in all of them. The DK West rap chorus will be etched into my memory forever, and I've definitely added some of these songs to my favorite video game musics of all time. And if you don't believe me, all the music in this video has been from the game. Go give it a listen. Biggest Dropped Ball. Honorable mention: Fall Guys Season 2. But obviously, the winner, Cyberpunk 2077. Dear God, what an absolute nightmare this game turned out to be. Between people randomly transforming into patio sets to the devs telling people not to play the game too much because if your save gets too big, it'll become corrupted. Is it any wonder that this wins the award? Like, yeah, there were some stinky releases this year, but dear God, what a trash fire this has been. I'm trying to think of anything else that could even come close. I mean, Fall Guys Season 2 is pretty lame, but wait a second! The PSO2 North American launches this. What? You thought Cyberpunk's release was bad? Winner, PSO2's North American launch. Oh my God, where do I begin with this? If you've watched my earlier streams, you probably heard me rant about this a lot. And if you haven't heard about this, you're thinking, haha, funny bit, this guy's hilarious. Probably the best YouTuber I've ever seen. And you're right. But I know you're also thinking, there's no way it's worse than Cyberpunk 2077. Well, buckle up, buddy. You thought terrible performance, game crashes, and corrupted saves were bad. What about all that and more? Well, I guess PSO2 didn't have corrupted save files as far as I can tell. But what it did have was somehow even worse. So first, you had to use the Windows Store to install it. I know some of you are already puking in your mouths, but wait, it gets worse. After you install the game, it launches through a separate launcher and then would patch. Pretty typical for an Asian MMO. Unfortunately, this is where the problems arise. The Windows Store wasn't properly recognizing the file changes the launcher would make, so every time you close the game, if you were one of the lucky ones that could even launch it, it would then re-download the entire 70 gigs. But that's not all. You'd think it would just delete the old 70 gig files it thought were corrupt. No! It would move them elsewhere, hidden and unable to be deleted by the users. And it would do this multiple times, resulting in people finding 300 plus gig hidden folders on their PCs. There's also the fact that, as mentioned before, for many people, it just didn't launch at all. Some people's PCs became corrupted. In fact, my friend was one of them. He had to reformat his PC after the launch fiasco. It was eventually figured out what caused the main issues, and I was one of the few lucky people to be able to avoid them. But even I eventually was unable to play the game because after 2 weeks of play, it just stopped launching, which was apparently another very common issue. And what was the PSO2 Twitter response to this? Nothing. It took over 3 days for them to make any comment, and it was just something along the lines of, we hear people are having issues, we'll look into it, and then never brought it up again. Thankfully, the incredible people at arcs-layer.com, there should be a link on screen right now, they stepped up where Sega dropped the ball and fixed everything. Like, I'm not kidding, they fixed everything. These people have done so much amazing work for the PSO2 worldwide community for the past decade, and they continue to go above and beyond. Seriously, I love PSO2, but if you're thinking of trying to play it, get it through Arcs-Layer. Or, Steam also works, but those Arcs-Layer people, they put so much love and effort into it. Give them a shout out. Okay, this segment has officially gone on way too long. Time for the one everyone's been waiting for. Game of the Year. Winner, Bugsnax. Kinda bug, ain't kinda snack, it's Game of the Year. Honestly, most of the games mentioned in this video could have gotten this top spot, but Bugsnax really just hit that perfect spot for me. The music was fantastic, whimsical, cozy, and even eerie, while always just being a complete banger of a song. The art direction was also great. Everything in the game is just so cute and cuddly. I want to give every one of the Grumpuses up just a big ol' hug. And I'd eat a couple of those adorable little bug snacks. The gameplay was serviceable. Nothing to write home about, but also nothing bad to be said either. The game's characters, though, they really hit home with me. I feel like I could see a little bit of myself in basically every single one of them. Before long, I loved all of them. At first, I thought characters like Beffica and Floofty were going to be incredibly obnoxious and get on my nerves, and I'd hate dealing with them. But it wasn't long before I felt bad for them and just wanted to help cheer them up. The turns the story took were definitely a bit predictable, but I still thought it was handled really well, and I enjoyed it from start to finish. I can't wait for any DLC to expand on this game and give me an excuse to hop back into the world, just so I can hang with my buddy Philbo once more. And that's it! That's my Game of the Year list for 2020. This ended up being a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, but it was also a lot of fun, going back and looking at all the streams I've done over the year. I hope you enjoyed the video, because I plan on doing this every year for the foreseeable future. I just want to give one more big thank you to everyone who supported me in any way. Even if you've only seen this one video, thank you for tuning in. You all inspire me to get better and work harder, and I'll see you in 2021. Thanks again.